Quran's preservation is a central and crucial question in Islamic theology. The belief in the Quran's perfect preservation is a matter of faith for Muslims, but it is also supported by historical and manuscript evidence. The argument for its preservation, especially in contrast to other scriptures, rests on several key pillars. Here's a breakdown of the Islamic perspective on how we know the Quran has been preserved, while other texts are believed to have been altered. The case for the Quran's preservation. 1. The theological claim, a divine promise. The Quran itself states that God is its guardian and protector. Indeed, it is we who sent down the reminder, the Quran, and indeed, we will be its guardian. Quran 15-9. This verse is the foundational belief for Muslims. The preservation isn't seen as a historical accident but as a direct result of divine guarantee. 2. The oral tradition, memorization, hifz. This is the single most powerful argument for its preservation. From the moment it was revealed, the Quran was memorized by the Prophet Muhammad's companions. It was not just a few people. Hundreds of companions, known as Hufaz, had the entire text committed to memory. This tradition continues unbroken to this day. Millions of Muslims across the world have memorized the entire Quran verbatim. Any deviation in a single word or vowel would be immediately caught by this global community of memorizers. This living, oral tradition acts as a continuous checksum against textual corruption. 3. Early and standardized compilation. During the Prophet's life, the Quran was written down on various materials, parchment, palm stalks, bones, by scribes as it was revealed. These were scattered, but the primary mode of preservation was oral. Under Abu Bakr, first caliph, after the death of many memorizers in a battle, the Caliph Abu Bakr ordered the collection of all written fragments into a single master copy, Suhuf. This was done under the supervision of Zayd ibn Thabit, the Prophet's chief scribe, who cross-referenced every verse with at least 2 written sources and the memory of the Hufaz. Under Uthman ibn Affan, third caliph, as Islam spread, slight dialectal variations in recitation began to appear. To prevent schism, Caliph Uthman formed a committee, again led by Zayd ibn Thabit, to standardize the text based on the dialect of the Quraysh, the Prophet's tribe. They produced several official copies, Mushaf, and sent them to major Muslim centers, ordering all other private copies to be burned to ensure unity. This Uthmanic Codex is the source of every Quran in circulation today. 4. Overwhelming manuscript evidence. The academic field of Quranic textual criticism, while still evolving, strongly supports the stability of the Quranic text. The Sana manuscript, discovered in Yemen, is one of the oldest, dating to the late 7th century. While it shows a different verse order and minor orthographic variations, the text itself is 99% identical to the modern Uthmanic Codex. The variations do not change meaning or doctrine. The Birmingham Quran manuscript has been radiocarbon dated to between 568 and 645 CE, placing it firmly in the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad or very shortly after. Its text is also identical to the modern Quran. This manuscript evidence bridges the gap between the revelation and the later standardized texts, confirming that the text we have today is the same as the one that existed in the first Muslim community. The Islamic perspective on the alteration of previous scriptures. From an Islamic viewpoint, other holy books, specifically the Torah given to Moses and the Gospel, Injil, given to Jesus, were indeed divine revelations originally. 1. The Quran's accusation of Tahrif, corruption. The Quran does not claim that the entire Bible is false. Instead, it accuses people of Tahrif, which can mean distortion of the text, tahrif al-lafz, physically changing the words. Distortion of the meaning, tahrif al-mani, misinterpreting or explaining away the true meaning. Key verses include, "So woe to those who write the scripture with their own hands, then say, this is from Allah, in order to exchange it for a small price." Quran 2:79. The Quran also challenges the people of the book, Jews and Christians, to bring their scriptures to settle disputes, implying that the original truth could still be found within him, but that it had been obscured, e.g., Quran 3:93. 2. Key points of difference from a critical, historical viewpoint. Muslim scholars point to several issues that, from their perspective, demonstrate textual instability in other scriptures, lack of a single, authoritative text. Unlike the Uthmanic Codex, there is no single, universally agreed upon, version of the Bible. Different Christian denominations have different canons, e.g., Catholic versus Protestant Bibles. Time gap and anonymous authorship. The Gospels were written decades after Jesus by individuals who were not his direct disciples, e.g., Mark, Luke. Their names are traditionally assigned, and their identities are debated by scholars. In contrast, the Quran was compiled and standardized within a generation of the Prophet by his closest companions. Doctrinal disputes and editing. Critical scholarship acknowledges that the biblical texts were shaped by theological debates in the early centuries, e.g., the Council of Nicaea. Muslims see this as evidence of human interference in the divine message. Internal contradictions. Muslim apologists often point to perceived contradictions between different biblical narratives as evidence of human tampering, contrasting it with the Quran's self-proclaimed internal consistency. Feature Quran, Islamic view. Other scriptures, Islamic view, preservation guaranteed by God. A living, continuous, and mass oral tradition supported by early, standardized written compilation. Other books are not divinely guaranteed. They underwent human alteration, tahrif, over time, both in text and meaning. Transmission memorized by millions from revelation to the present day. Compiled by first-generation disciples under state authority. Other books transmitted through generations without a similar mass memorization process, leading to variations. Evidence. Overwhelming manuscript evidence showing textual stability of Quran from the 7th century to today. The other books. From a Muslim perspective, the existence of multiple versions and critical scholarship confirms alteration. In conclusion, for Muslims, the preservation of the Quran is a multifaceted miracle. It is theologically promised, orally perpetuated by millions, historically verified by early standardization, and academically supported by ancient manuscripts. The perceived lack of a similar, unified preservation mechanism for previous scriptures is the primary reason for the Islamic belief that they were tampered with, while the Quran remains in its original, pristine form.